Your entire life you have been measured by a metric that does not exist. They told you intelligence was a number, an IQ score, a grade on a paper, a degree hanging on a wall. But what if I told you that these numbers don't define you? What if the true measure of your intelligence has nothing to do with how many facts you can memorize or how fast you can solve a math problem? What if the real power of intelligence is something deeper, something far more profound than society has ever taught you? Imagine this. You wake up each day thinking you're in control of your life, but if you look closely, you're just following a script. Society, school, your family, they've written it for you. You think you have a choice, but you're reacting to life, not creating it. This is what most people experience, living on autopilot, reacting to circumstances instead of shaping them. But there's a different way. Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus understood this. They believed that true power comes from within, from our ability to choose our responses, no matter the situation. Intelligence, according to Stoicism, isn't about accumulating knowledge for the sake of it. It's about using what you know to control your own fate. If this resonates with you, if you're ready to break free from the limitations of conventional thinking and start mastering your own reality, then please subscribe. It's your first step toward unlocking a higher level of self-awareness, purpose, and meaning. Let's walk this journey together, one level at a time. Life on autopilot. We live in a world where everyone's racing toward the same goals, following the same path, chasing the same standards, never questioning why. It's as if we've all been programmed to repeat a script written by someone else. The truth is, the script wasn't designed to make us thrive, it was designed to keep us in line. And if you're stuck in this autopilot mode, you're not living, you're surviving. You're not thinking, you're reacting. So the question is, when was the last time you truly questioned your life? Have you ever stopped and asked yourself why you believe what you do? Or why you've chosen the path you're walking down? If not, then let's start right here. Let's talk about the first level of intelligence, the sleeper. These people are everywhere. They walk among us, but they're not really living. They're just going through the motions, caught in the loop of daily routine, never really questioning the world around them. They wake up to the sound of an alarm, drag themselves out of bed, go to work, and spend their evenings unwinding from the day, only to repeat it all again tomorrow. They follow the trends because it's easier than thinking for themselves. They buy the latest gadgets, jump on the social media bandwagon, and nod along to conversations, because that's what everyone else is doing. It's a life lived by default, not by design. The sleeper is not necessarily dumb or incapable. They might even be well-educated, holding degrees or titles that society admires. But education alone doesn't guarantee awakening. The sleeper might know a lot of facts, but that knowledge doesn't give them the ability to navigate the complexities of life. Their intelligence is superficial, limited to memorized information or accepted norms. They don't question, they don't challenge, they just follow. Epictetus once said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." The sleeper doesn't understand this freedom. They're trapped in a loop, reacting to everything around them, never realizing they have the power to choose their own response. You see, the sleeper doesn't live proactively, they live reactively. They let the world happen to them, allowing external circumstances to dictate their lives. They blame their problems on their boss, their partner, or even the economy. They don't take responsibility for their actions because in their minds, nothing is truly their fault. The real tragedy here is that they're not even aware they're stuck. They're just following the script written for them without realizing they can tear it up and write their own story. You might recognize these people. You might even see a little bit of yourself in them. And that's not a judgment, it's a wake-up call. If you've ever caught yourself just going with the flow, never questioning why you do the things you do, it's time to wake up. And I don't mean just waking up in the morning. I mean waking up to the life you're living, to the choices you're making. Start asking yourself questions. Why do I believe this? Why do I act this way? Why am I just accepting things as they are? It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's the first step toward freedom. And that's where the real journey begins. When you begin to challenge the assumptions you've built your life on, the world will start to look different. You'll start seeing opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You'll start seeing solutions where you once saw problems. Your life won't be dictated by the script anymore. It will be shaped by you. The sleeper has a choice, just like you do. The first step is awareness. Once you see that you've been living on autopilot, you can begin to change course. As Marcus Aurelius wisely put it, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. The moment you start thinking for yourself, questioning the world around you, and living intentionally, your life begins to shift. It's a shift from reacting to the world to creating your own path through it. The power lies in your ability to decide how you respond to life, not just how you react. And that power starts with questioning everything you've been told to believe. When you stop living on autopilot, you'll realize that you're not just another cog in the machine. You're the one who can turn the gears. But first, you have to wake up. The sleeper doesn't have to stay asleep. The good news? It's never too late to awaken. You can start right now, in this very moment, by asking the simple but powerful question, why? Why do I do what I do? Why do I think what I think? If you truly want to live a life of purpose and control, start by asking yourself this question every single day. It's the first step toward breaking free from the illusion and stepping into your true power. The journey from sleeper to awakened is not easy. It will require uncomfortable self-reflection, a willingness to question the status quo, and the courage to change. But it's the only way to move forward. You can't evolve if you're not even aware of where you stand. And once you awaken, once you start questioning and taking control of your life, you'll begin to see things from a completely new perspective. Life will no longer be something that just happens to you. It will be something you create. And that's where the real magic begins. Borrowed thinking. We've all seen them. The people who talk about everything but seem to know little about anything. They've figured out that intelligence can be a ticket to respect, but they're still playing the game in a way that's just skin deep. They're awake, yes, but just barely. The mimic is someone who understands that knowledge is valuable, but they haven't learned how to truly own it. Instead, they've figured out how to perform it for others. You know the type, those who have an endless supply of quotes, but never seem to truly grasp the depth of the ideas they're repeating. They can recite Shakespeare or drop names like Nietzsche or Jung, but they haven't actually taken the time to explore what those ideas really mean or how they apply to their own lives. They've mastered the art of sounding intelligent, but it's all just for show. The mimic knows how to gather information, often on the latest trends or buzzwords. They read the reviews, but they never read the actual books. They know the right things to say at the right times, and they're good at appearing like they have it all figured out. But beneath the surface, there's a lack of true understanding. They might repeat profound statements, but they can't really explain the meaning behind them. It's as if they're trying to keep up with a conversation they don't really belong in. This is the classic case of the Dunning-Kruger effect, the phenomenon where someone with only a basic understanding of something believes they know far more than they actually do. It's not their fault. It's just that they haven't gone deeper yet. They mistake the appearance of knowledge for the reality of it. It's easy to fall into this trap, especially when society rewards performance over true understanding. In a world where appearances matter so much, it's tempting to look smart rather than actually be smart. But this is the danger of the mimic's mindset. They're still in search of validation, still trying to earn their place at the table by copying others instead of creating something unique from their own understanding. They want the recognition that comes with knowing the right things, but they're not actually putting in the work to understand those things at a fundamental level. What the mimic doesn't realize is that true intelligence isn't about performing, it's about being real. It's about learning for the sake of growth, not for the applause. In a way, the mimic is still trapped in the early stages of awakening. They're aware that there's more to life than what they've been taught, but they haven't fully grasped the responsibility of learning and growing. As Carl Jung once said, knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people. The mimic, however, is still avoiding their own darkness, the uncomfortable reality that they don't yet know as much as they think they do. And until they confront that, they'll stay stuck in this superficial pursuit of validation. But here's the thing. It's okay not to know everything. In fact, it's a sign of strength, not weakness. The real power comes not from pretending to be something you're not, but from stepping into the unknown with humility and a willingness to learn. The mimic might be in the game, but they're still playing by someone else's rules. To level up, they need to stop mimicking others and start owning their own understanding. They need to dig deeper into the subjects that truly matter to them and make those ideas their own. When you stop trying to impress others with what you know and start truly understanding what you don't, that's when the real learning begins. So, if you find yourself in the habit of parroting ideas that you've only half understood or memorizing quotes to sound intelligent, it's time to stop pretending. Real intelligence comes from deep, personal engagement with ideas, not from repeating what someone else has said. Don't settle for being a performer in your own life. Stop mimicking others and start learning for yourself. Look at the things that truly resonate with you and invest the time and effort it takes to understand them at a deeper level. True intelligence is about ownership, not performance. It's about being in touch with your own understanding and constantly seeking to expand it. Don't be afraid of not knowing everything. The fear of being seen as dumb is what keeps the mimic trapped in the cycle of surface-level knowledge. The real power comes when you accept that learning is a journey, not a destination. And the first step on that journey is to stop pretending you know more than you do. The more you admit what you don't know, the more room you'll have to grow. Only then can you move beyond the mimic stage and step into the next level of true intelligence. It's time to let go of the need to impress others with what you know. It's time to stop being a copy and start being a creator. Embrace the discomfort of not knowing and use it as fuel for your growth. That's where true intelligence lies, not in memorization, but in understanding, not in performing, but in living authentically with the knowledge you gain. So, the next time you find yourself quoting a philosopher, ask yourself, do I truly understand this? If the answer is no, then dive deeper. It's the only way to move from being a mimic to someone who is genuinely wise. Strategic living. We all like to think we're in control of our lives, but if you're anything like most people, you've probably caught yourself at some point feeling like life is a game you can't quite figure out. Well, here's the thing. It is a game. And the next level of intelligence, the calculator, has figured that out. They've realized that intelligence isn't just about absorbing information or sounding smart. It's about using knowledge strategically to get ahead. The calculator doesn't just react to life, they shape it. They think critically, not emotionally. They look at the world, assess the rules, and figure out how to use them to their advantage. In a way, they've learned how to play the game of life with precision. But here's the catch. The calculator's thinking can be cold and transactional. They're no longer playing by the same rules as everyone else. They're working the system. They know how to navigate social, professional, and personal dynamics to get the outcome they want. They see opportunities where others see obstacles. They understand people's motivations, their fears and desires, and they use this understanding to maneuver through life. In many ways, the calculator is winning. They're not just reacting to situations, they're controlling them, bending them to fit their goals. But in doing so, they sometimes lose sight of the bigger picture. They begin to see everything as a transaction. Every interaction is weighed for its potential return. This level of intelligence is all about strategy, but sometimes it's easy to get lost in the game. You might have met a calculator in your life. These are the people who always seem to have a plan. They know exactly what they want and how to get it. They've figured out the rules of the game, whether it's business, relationships, or social dynamics, and they use those rules to climb higher, faster. But the problem with this level of intelligence is that it often comes at the expense of connection. Calculators can sometimes forget about the human element, the emotional side of life. They're so focused on efficiency, on maximizing outcomes, that they may lose touch with the people around them. Life becomes a series of moves and counter-moves, with every person they encounter just another part of the system they're trying to optimize. This is where the loneliness sets in. The calculator might be winning the game of life, but they're doing it alone. When you start viewing every interaction as a transaction, you begin to see people as tools or obstacles rather than human beings with their own needs, desires, and emotions. The calculator's success is often built on manipulation, on knowing how to work the system and control the narrative. But in this pursuit of control, they might miss the deeper, more meaningful connections that come from truly understanding and empathizing with others. It's easy to get trapped in this level of intelligence, especially when you start to see the world in terms of strategy and outcomes. You start thinking of people as stepping stones, as means to an end. You find yourself analyzing every interaction, figuring out what's in it for you, how you can make it work to your advantage. This might feel empowering at first. After all, you're taking control, you're winning. But eventually, the emptiness starts to creep in. You realize that you've climbed the ladder, but you're standing alone at the top. The connections you've made are shallow, transactional, and the success you've achieved feels hollow because it hasn't been built on genuine relationships. Seneca once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This could easily apply to the calculator. While they've mastered the game of life, they often miss the deeper lesson that real wealth, real success, isn't about maximizing every transaction, but about knowing when to stop playing the game. The calculator's mindset of constant efficiency, constant maneuvering, eventually leads to burnout. Success becomes an obsession. It's about getting ahead, beating the system, making the right moves. But it also leads to a feeling of isolation. You've figured out how to win, but you haven't figured out how to live. If you find yourself constantly analyzing every situation for its transactional value, it's time to step back and reconnect with the bigger picture. Stop seeing people as tools and start seeing them as human beings. Life isn't just about winning. It's about living in harmony with others, building relationships, and finding meaning beyond your next move. The most powerful moves in life don't always come from outsmarting the system. They come from working with people, not just using them. The key to transcending the calculator mindset is to recognize that life isn't a game that can always be won through manipulation or strategy. There's more to life than the next deal or the next promotion. True success comes from understanding that you can still be strategic and effective without losing sight of your humanity. Once you realize this, you'll find that the world opens up in a way you never expected. You'll start to see that you don't have to control everything to succeed. You don't have to manipulate every situation to come out on top. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is to step back, build meaningful relationships, and approach life from a place of balance and connection. If you find yourself trapped in the mindset of always calculating, always playing the game, consider this a sign to reassess. Stop focusing so much on the outcome and start paying attention to the process. Start building connections, not just strategies. The more you understand the human element of life, the emotions, the relationships, the shared experiences, the more success will come naturally. You'll begin to win not just in the game of life, but in the hearts and minds of the people you encounter along the way. As you progress through the levels of intelligence, remember that true power doesn't come from controlling others. It comes from understanding yourself and your connection to the world around you. When you stop seeing life as a series of moves and start seeing it as a shared experience, you will unlock a new kind of success. The calculator is smart, but they are still playing within the game. The next level, the operator, knows how to change the game entirely. But for now, if you're stuck in this level, the first step is to let go of the need to manipulate every situation. Instead, begin to see the deeper connections that make life truly worthwhile. When you do, you'll find that real success is not about winning, it's about living well. Acting with intention. At this level, things begin to change. The operator doesn't care about looking smart or impressing others. They've moved beyond the need for external validation. They're focused on results. It's not about appearing intelligent, it's about being effective. The operator has learned how to cut through the noise and take decisive action. They don't just play the game, they shape it. Where the mimic and the calculator are still caught up in the pursuit of validation or winning the system, the operator has learned that true success lies in execution, in stepping up and making things happen. The operator understands something that many never will, that intelligence is only valuable when it leads to action, and that action is what determines progress. The transition from the calculator to the operator is a big leap. It's not just about knowing the rules of the game anymore. It's about using those rules to create something new, to drive change. The calculator might have been strategic, playing the game with precision, but the operator has realized that precision alone isn't enough. To truly succeed, you must be willing to take responsibility. You must be willing to make tough decisions, to act even when it feels risky, to lead others through uncharted waters. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." The operator has already moved beyond the thinking phase. They are too busy being the person they need to be to worry about what others think. They take action because they know that the real test of intelligence isn't in thinking or theorizing, it's in doing. The operator's life is about intention. Every move they make is calculated not for self-gain, but for the greater goal. This level is about leadership. An operator doesn't just follow, they lead. They are the ones who step into the unknown, make decisions that others hesitate to make, and carry the weight of responsibility. They create opportunities where there seem to be none. Where the mimic performs and the calculator calculates, the operator moves with purpose, shaping the environment around them. They have learned that true leadership isn't about forcing others into submission or controlling the situation. It's about guiding people, aligning them with a common goal, and helping them find their way forward. The operator understands that their success isn't just theirs, it's shared. But with all this power comes a heavy burden. As the operator rises, they take on the weight of leadership. They are accountable for their actions, and the consequences of their decisions can have far-reaching effects. The higher you climb, the more responsibility you have to shoulder. Being an operator means embracing this responsibility, understanding that your decisions shape the lives of those around you. It's easy to forget the pressure that comes with leadership, especially when you're focused on the mission at hand. But the operator never loses sight of the bigger picture. They know that leadership requires sacrifice, that at times you must choose the hard path, the one that's not always popular, but the one that serves the greater good. The operator's leadership is not about asserting control, but about guiding others toward a shared vision. It's not about telling people what to do, it's about showing them the way. True leadership is about empowering others, helping them realize their potential and guiding them toward a collective goal. The operator's strength doesn't come from exerting power. It comes from their ability to inspire and uplift others. And while the operator may often find themselves in the spotlight, they don't seek it. Their focus is always on the outcome, on achieving the mission, not on the personal recognition that may come with it. The operator understands that the ultimate goal isn't to be admired or revered, it's to make a lasting impact, to leave the world in a better place than they found it. At this level, the operator doesn't just react to the world around them, they create the world they want to see. They take the knowledge they've gained from the previous levels, the strategies they've learned, and the awareness they've cultivated, and they turn them into action. It's the difference between being a cog in the machine and being the one who builds the machine. The operator doesn't wait for opportunities to come to them. They create them. They see potential where others see roadblocks. They know that success is not handed to you, it is made. And once the operator realizes this, the world becomes their canvas. But even for the operator, there are challenges. The weight of leadership can be isolating, and the decisions they make are never without consequence. The pressure to always be right, to always make the best move, can be overwhelming. And yet, the operator pushes forward. They don't shrink from responsibility. They take it head-on, knowing that their decisions will shape the future. This ability to embrace responsibility, to lead with conviction, is what sets the operator apart. They understand that true leadership doesn't come without sacrifice. It's not easy, but it is rewarding. And the operator is willing to carry the load, because they know that the rewards of leadership aren't just for them. They are for everyone they lead. To move from a calculator to an operator, you need to step up. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop second-guessing yourself. The time to lead is now. Take responsibility for your life and your decisions. Stop sitting on the sidelines, analyzing every possibility, and start taking action. Don't be afraid to make the tough decisions, to challenge the status quo, to lead with courage. Leadership doesn't mean you have all the answers. It means you're willing to find them. It's about having a vision and doing whatever it takes to make it a reality. If you're ready to take your life to the next level, to step into the role of leader, now is the time. The world needs more operators, people who are willing to take charge, to make decisions, and to lead others toward greatness. Will you answer the call? The transition to the operator is not for the faint of heart. It requires courage, strength, and a willingness to face the unknown. But once you step into this role, you'll find that the world starts to bend to your will. And as you shape the world around you, you'll find that the true rewards of leadership aren't in the accolades or the power. They're in the people you help, the lives you change, and the impact you make on the world. As the operator, you will be the one to take charge, to lead, and to create opportunities, not just for yourself, but for everyone around you. The road ahead won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Are you ready to step up and become the leader you were always meant to be? The illusion of control. There's a level of intelligence that few ever reach, and it's one that's often hidden from plain view. At this level, people don't need to assert control. They learn how to influence from the shadows. The puppeteer is someone who has figured out that direct power can be messy, and sometimes it's more effective to pull the strings quietly without anyone knowing it. The puppeteer doesn't need to be the one in the spotlight. They understand that true power is in making others believe they have control. By understanding the deepest parts of human nature, our desires, our fears, our weaknesses, the puppeteer is able to subtly manipulate situations to their advantage. They don't need to force anyone to do anything. Instead, they create circumstances where the outcome is inevitable, but everyone thinks they made the decision themselves. It's a kind of quiet brilliance, a mastery of influence that isn't loud or flashy. At the heart of this skill is a deep understanding of human behavior. The puppeteer knows that people are driven by emotions and subconscious desires. They know how to push the right buttons, how to guide people without them even realizing they're being guided. This is the art of influence, of shaping the world around you through others. It's not about controlling people outright. It's about subtly directing their actions, often without them noticing. The puppeteer operates behind the scenes, pulling the levers that make things move, while the people around them think they're the ones in control. It's a powerful strategy because it allows the puppeteer to achieve their goals without the friction that often comes with direct confrontation. They create the systems, the environments, and the narratives that steer people in a direction, all while making them feel like they're following their own path. But with this power comes a significant cost. The puppeteer's ability to manipulate situations and people can lead to a deep detachment from their own humanity. They become so skilled at shaping reality around them that they risk losing touch with who they truly are. In their quest for control, they may begin to see people not as individuals, but as tools to be used. Relationships become transactions, and trust becomes a currency to be manipulated. The puppeteer's genius lies in their ability to remain unseen, but in doing so, they often forget the very thing that makes them human, the ability to connect with others on a genuine, emotional level. As they continue to shape the world according to their own vision, they can become increasingly isolated, detached from the world they're controlling. This detachment is what makes the puppeteer dangerous. They no longer see people as people, they see them as means to an end. And while this may work for a time, it can be a lonely existence. The puppeteer's strength lies in their ability to operate without drawing attention to themselves, but in doing so, they can become hollow. They learn to play the game so well that they forget what it's like to truly live within it. This is the price of influence, the cost of achieving your goals without ever revealing your hand. As Carl Jung once said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. The puppeteer, in their quest for control, risks losing touch with who they truly are, becoming so focused on shaping others that they forget to shape themselves. They may manipulate the world around them, but they forget to look inward and see if they are still in touch with their own values, their own desires, and their own humanity. If you find yourself in a position where you're constantly influencing others, shaping situations and controlling outcomes, it's time to reflect. While the ability to influence is powerful, it's important to remember that it's not the end goal. The puppeteer's path is a dangerous one because it can lead to a loss of self. Power can be intoxicating, and when you begin to pull the strings behind the scenes, it's easy to forget that the people you're influencing are still human beings with their own dreams, hopes, and fears. True power doesn't come from controlling others. It comes from understanding them. It comes from empathy, from genuine connection, and from using your influence to lift others up, not just to manipulate them to your will. It's easy to get caught up in the game of influence, to see it as the ultimate strategy for success. But the real test of power is not how much you can control, it's how well you can serve others while still remaining true to yourself. The puppeteer's path may seem like the one with the most control, but it's also the one that risks the greatest loss. To truly rise, you must learn to balance your influence with authenticity. Use your understanding of human nature to guide others, but never forget that true leadership comes from empathy, not manipulation. Influence should be used to create harmony, not division. Power should be used to inspire, not to dominate. The puppeteer may have mastered the game, but the true master is the one who plays the game with a sense of purpose and humanity. They understand that while influence is important, it is never worth losing yourself in the process. Stay grounded in your values. Stay connected to the people around you. Don't let the pursuit of power blind you to the importance of authenticity. As you rise, remember that influence is most powerful when it comes from a place of integrity and genuine care for others. Don't just learn to pull the strings. Learn to use your influence for the greater good, for the benefit of those around you. In doing so, you'll find that your power is greater than anything the puppeteer can ever achieve. Building what lasts. At some point, the game changes. You no longer find yourself focused on making the right moves within the system. Instead, you start creating the system itself. This is where we meet the architect. the architect isn't just playing the game, they're designing it. They've moved beyond manipulating individual situations and are now focused on shaping entire environments. While most people see the world in terms of isolated events, the architect sees patterns, connections, and potential. They understand that true power doesn't come from controlling people directly, but from building systems that influence the world on a grand scale. They don't force others to act. They create conditions where their actions naturally align with a bigger vision. This is the level where real change begins. Think about the creators of the platforms you use every day: social media, search engines, even the economic systems we operate in. The people who designed these systems are the architects. They didn't just create products, they created entire ecosystems. They built frameworks that shape the way we communicate, the way we work, and even the way we think. The architect understands that in order to influence on a large scale, you need to think in systems. The systems they create ripple out into the world, affecting millions of lives, sometimes without anyone even realizing it. What makes an architect so powerful is that their influence is often invisible. They don't need to be at the forefront of every decision. They've already designed the systems that will guide the decisions for years, even decades to come. Their power isn't flashy, it's profound. It's the ability to shape entire structures, guiding people without them even knowing they're being guided. But there's a catch. To become an architect, you must be willing to give up personal glory. The architect understands that true power isn't about being in the spotlight. It's about creating something lasting that will outlive your own involvement. They're not concerned with fame or recognition. They're concerned with building something that endures. As Carl Jung said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. For the architect, becoming who they truly are means understanding that their work isn't about immediate recognition or self-interest. It's about creating something far greater than themselves. It's about building structures, systems, and frameworks that will continue to function long after they're gone. The architect's impact is silent but immense. Their legacy doesn't lie in what they've personally achieved, but in what they've created for others to build upon. To reach this level, you need to start thinking beyond your own personal success. The architect doesn't look at short-term wins. They think in decades. They're not concerned with the immediate results. They're focused on what will stand the test of time. In order to move from a high-level thinker to an architect, you need to start thinking in systems. Every action you take ripples outward, influencing the world in ways you may not immediately see. How do your actions affect the people around you? How do they impact the larger systems at play? Are you simply participating in existing structures, or are you creating new frameworks that can change the way the world works? The architect understands that lasting change comes not from individual efforts, but from creating systems that work for the greater good. These systems are designed to function without constant intervention, to influence behavior and decisions without forcing them. The power lies not in controlling people, but in creating environments where people naturally align with your vision. This is the level where you stop chasing short-term wins and start building something that will shape the future. You stop thinking in terms of your own success and start thinking about how you can create structures that will empower others for generations to come. To get to this level, you must start thinking about the long game. Don't just look at what's right in front of you. Start asking yourself how your actions today will affect the world in the future. Think about the systems you interact with. How could they be improved? What could you create that would change the way people work, communicate, or live? The architect sees potential in everything, from the smallest interaction to the largest institutions. They see the ways that things can be improved, restructured, and elevated. But to do this, you must let go of the need for immediate rewards and recognition. It's about creating something meaningful that will outlast your own involvement. One of the most profound aspects of being an architect is the understanding that true power lies not in being the loudest voice in the room, but in creating the structure that allows the room to function. The architect doesn't need to command every conversation or lead every project. They've already laid the groundwork. They've designed the framework that ensures everything runs smoothly without their constant intervention. This kind of power isn't about asserting dominance, it's about creating the conditions where others can thrive. It's a quieter, more strategic form of influence, but it's just as impactful, if not more so. The architect's legacy isn't found in personal achievements. It's found in the systems they've created, the ways they've shaped the world, and the opportunities they've given to others to rise. The most powerful architects are the ones who understand the importance of structure, but also the need for flexibility. Systems must be able to adapt to the changing world. The architect doesn't just create rigid structures, they design frameworks that are flexible enough to evolve with time. They understand that the world is constantly changing, and they build with that in mind. This is what makes their influence so enduring. These systems are designed to grow and adapt, to thrive even as the world shifts around them. To become an architect, you need to shift your focus from immediate results to long-term vision. It's not about making the right move today. It's about making the right decisions that will shape the future. This means creating systems that can function without you. The most powerful leaders are the ones who create the systems that lead to success, not the ones who scramble for short-term victories. If you want to reach this level, start thinking in systems. Look beyond yourself and ask, how can I create something that lasts? How can I design something that will have a lasting impact on the world? It's about taking a step back from the immediate noise and focusing on what will stand the test of time. As you begin to think like an architect, you'll realize that the true power lies not in control, but in creation. You'll see that you don't need to fight for attention or recognition. Instead, you need to focus on building the right systems, the right environments, and the right structures. It's about creating something that works for the greater good, something that will continue to thrive long after you've moved on. And when you start thinking in these terms, you'll realize that the impact you can have on the world is far greater than you ever imagined. Freedom from the game. At the highest level, the game changes completely. It's no longer about playing, designing, or even mastering the game. At this point, you have transcended the need to engage with the game at all. This is the level of the void. The void represents the ultimate freedom, the ultimate mastery of oneself. It's a state of detachment, free from external expectations, free from fear, and free from desire. The void isn't controlled by the world. It operates independently, impervious to manipulation or influence. Where others might still be caught up in the pursuit of success, recognition, or material gain, the person who reaches the void has let go of all those attachments. They've transcended the external world's power over them and achieved internal sovereignty. At this level, nothing controls them. They are not driven by ego, nor do they crave validation. They've learned to strip away everything that's not essential to their true self. Their actions are deliberate, but unburdened by attachment to outcomes. The void operates on a completely different plane. Epictetus famously said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." The person who reaches the void understands this on a profound level. They no longer seek out external possessions or experiences to define their sense of worth. Instead, they are content with what is within. They do what is necessary, nothing more, nothing less. Their actions are rooted in a deep understanding of their own inner strength, rather than in any desire for external reward. They are the ultimate masters of themselves, unshaken by the world around them. Imagine this level of freedom, being untouchable by external forces, not needing anything outside yourself to feel fulfilled. It's the kind of peace that comes from knowing who you are and being completely comfortable in your own skin. The void is the ultimate state of emotional and mental detachment. where nothing in the external world can sway your inner calm. It's not about rejecting the world or retreating from it. It's about being present without being controlled by it. The void sees the world, understands it, but doesn't get involved in its chaos. It flows through life with ease, just as water moves around obstacles without being caught by them. The void doesn't try to manipulate life. It simply adapts, flows, and exists in perfect harmony with the world around it. But reaching this level isn't easy. To get there, you must let go of everything that has held you back. The attachment to your identity, your desires, your fears, all of it must be surrendered. You must be willing to accept that you don't need external circumstances to define you. You must let go of your need to prove yourself to others. The void is about self-reliance, not in the sense of being isolated, but in the sense that you are no longer dependent on anyone or anything to feel complete. This is a level of emotional mastery that requires deep introspection and continuous growth. It's about developing the ability to remain centered and grounded no matter what happens outside of you. In the face of challenges, external pressures, or temptations, the person who has reached the void remains unaffected. They simply keep moving forward, undistracted by the noise around them. At the same time, the void is the ultimate state of clarity. With no attachments, no fears, and no desires clouding your vision, you can see life for what it truly is. There's no more confusion, no more running after things that don't matter. You are free from the mental clutter that most people get caught up in. This clarity allows you to move through life with purpose, without being driven by external events or outcomes. You're not caught up in the drama of others or the whirlwind of external expectations. Instead, you're able to focus entirely on what is meaningful to you, your true purpose, your inner peace, and your ongoing personal growth. The great strength of the void is its ability to remain untouched by life's ups and downs. Life will continue to throw challenges your way, and others may still be caught up in the chaos of the world. But you, as someone who has transcended the game, will remain calm and steady. You no longer need to prove yourself, win the next battle, or reach for the next goal. You've let go of all that, understanding that true freedom doesn't come from external achievements, it comes from within. Your actions are no longer driven by fear, need, or desire. They are driven by purpose and inner wisdom. You do what's necessary, and you do it without hesitation or attachment to the result. This doesn't mean you become passive or disconnected from life. It means that you approach life with a deep sense of peace and clarity. You become unstoppable, not because you push relentlessly forward, but because you no longer allow anything to derail you. No external force can control you because you've reached a state of such deep self-awareness and emotional control that you're invulnerable to the world's distractions. The void is the ultimate form of freedom because it allows you to live life on your terms, completely undisturbed by the whims of society, relationships, or circumstances. To reach the void, you must be willing to look within. You must be prepared to confront your ego and your desires. You must accept that your sense of self isn't based on what you have, what you do, or what others think of you. Your true power lies in your ability to detach from all of that and live according to your inner truth. It's a level of mastery that few ever reach, but the peace and freedom that come with it are unparalleled. To be in the void is to live without fear, without attachment, and without need. You become the ultimate master of yourself, and in doing so, you find a sense of peace that is unshakable. When you reach the void, you will no longer be caught up in the game of life. You will have transcended it, finding your own rhythm, moving through the world without resistance. You will no longer be a slave to external circumstances or the expectations of others. You will have mastered yourself completely, and that is the ultimate freedom. It's the highest form of intelligence, not because it knows more or does more, but because it has the wisdom to simply be. It has learned that the greatest power lies in detachment, detachment from ego, detachment from fear, and detachment from the world's fleeting rewards. Once you reach this level, you'll find that nothing in life can hold you back. You will be unstoppable, not because of your achievements, but because of your peace. You've now seen the path, from the sleeper all the way to the void. Each level is a journey, a step toward mastering yourself and transcending the chaos around you. But remember, this is only the beginning. The real work starts when you decide to apply these insights and make the change. It's not about being perfect, it's about progress. So keep striving, keep growing, and never forget that true power comes from within. If this video resonated with you, check out one of the suggested videos on the screen. Thank you for being a part of Stoic Journal. Keep seeking the truth, and may you find peace in your pursuit of greatness.